Getting kids off their devices is tough, not to mention the worry about what they might be seeing or doing online. And with the federal government looking to ban social media for under 16s, we ask the question, is it a good idea? Writer and researcher Johann Hari has put the tough questions to world experts in the tech and the digital space. And it turns out it's not just our kids who have a problem. Well, Johann, lovely to speak to you. Thanks for joining me.
Hey, Deb, it's great to be with you. I'm so excited to be coming back to Australia as well.
Well, the tour, we'll talk about that in a moment. But you're a leading expert in the negative effects of social media and you've put yourself to the test. You've gone cold turkey. How did you go when you tried to give it up?
So at first I thought, well, the solution is I've just got to get out of this, right? So I went away for 3 months with no internet and no laptop, no smartphone. And in some ways it was amazing. My attention rushed back, all sorts of changes happened. But I came back to my normal life and it completely went away. So I was like, I went back to being almost as bad as I was before. And that was when I realized, okay, I need to figure out how we solve this problem in our lives. The solution isn't to run away from this, it's to figure out what's really going on and how we can solve it.
And you say that we're actually losing brain power as a result of this.
I would say to anyone watching, think about anything you've ever achieved in your life that you're proud of. Those things that you're proud of required a huge amount of sustained focus and attention. And when your ability to focus and pay attention breaks down, your ability to solve your problems deteriorates. Your ability to achieve your goals deteriorates. You feel worse about yourself because you actually are less competent. We can see this with our kids when they can't focus. They're going to struggle to achieve the things they want to achieve in their lives. And when you get your attention back, it's like regaining your superpower. So if you're struggling to focus, if your kids are struggling to focus, there's nothing wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with them. There's something wrong with the way we're living. But together we can fix that.
Because that's how we live our lives. People watch TV while they're on their phone, while they're typing something on their laptop. We're proud of the fact that we think we can multitask.
I interviewed one of the leading neuroscientists in the world, and he said to me, there's one thing you need to understand about the human brain more than anything else. You can only consciously think about 1 or 2 things at a time. That's it. You can't do more than one thing at a time. What you do is you juggle very quickly between tasks. And that juggling comes with a really big cost. The fancy term for it is the switch cost effect. When you try to do more than one thing at a time, you do all the things you're trying to do much less competently. You make more mistakes, you remember less of what you do, you're much less creative. So again, it's downgrading us, this constant juggling the whole time.
When you did give up social media, what sort of impact did it have on you?
It was really difficult at first. And then I was stunned by how much my mind went back to being able to think more deeply, more intelligently. I go through loads of things in the book that everyone can do to protect themselves and their children as individuals immediately. I'll give you an example of one. I have a little prop here. This is a case safe. You take off the lid, you put in your phone, you put on the lid, you turn the dial at the top, you push the button and it locks your phone away for anything between 5 minutes and a whole day. I use that for 3 hours a day. I would say everyone with kids, get one, and all of you start with just having 15 minutes a day over dinner where you all put your phones into the case safe and you have to look into each other's eyes like in the 19th century.
Now, our government is looking at bringing in a ban for children under the age of 16 being able to access social media. What do you think of that idea?
Absolutely. We need to urgently ban social media for everyone under the age of 16, and we need to regulate it for everyone in highly specific ways that I learned about in Silicon Valley when I interviewed the people who designed social media, who feel sick with guilt about what they've done. We cannot continue like this. Something is really wrong. If our kids can't focus and pay attention, they can't become the best version of themselves. They become more anxious, they become more neurotic, and they become diminished.
Is it possible to enforce bans, though?
Sure, we can enforce it. I mean, we enforce it with cigarettes, we enforce it with loads of things. We don't let kids have alcohol. I mean, we can't just have a council of despair. Most importantly, places that have started to make these moves have found them to be incredibly effective. Several parts of Spain and Norway just banned smartphones from schools. And, the kids hated it at first, and then they were really glad, particularly the girls. Girls are particularly negatively affected by this and were liberated to not suddenly be constantly being monitored, to be constantly being humiliated online or judged online or scrutinized online. So yeah, absolutely we can do this.
Because what are the consequences for not taking action here? Because it feels as though we're conducting a real life experiment on a whole generation with consequences that, as you say, are very negative.
I think it's a really important way of putting it, Deb. We want a life with plenty of technology, but we also want a life where our kids can read books, where they can play outside, where they look at trees, right? If we want that, we can get it. The science is very clear about how we can protect our kids from the forces that are stealing their focus.
And you're coming to Australia on the speaking tour in late October, which will coincide with the New South Wales state government looking very closely at the whole idea of social media and banning it for children under the age of 16. Would you be open to speaking at that summit, and what message would you deliver?
100%. I love Australia, and I'll be helping any way I can. Absolutely. The key lesson is you have an opportunity here to do something amazing for your children. We've got a shared problem. Adults and kids are struggling to focus. We're in this together. And together, we're going to fight against the forces that are doing this to us. That's a very different kind of conversation, and one that brings our kids towards us instead of pushing them away.
Yeah, it's such an important conversation to be had. Johan, thank you so much for speaking with us.
What a pleasure. Thanks so much, Deb. I hope I see you in Australia.
And as mentioned, Johan is touring Australia next month. Tickets are on sale now and the details are on our website.